Can you guys hear me now? Let's see. Because it says... Okay, so... Okay, cool. So sorry about that, guys. I completely forgot. I got this new mic, and my Streamlabs setup, I have to like actually have the mic connected to my computer, so completely forgot about that. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I'll do the whole intro again. My name is Prashant. I'm a data analyst, and I work out of Seattle, Washington at Nordstrom, a major fashion retailer in the Pacific Northwest area. And today, well, not really anything specific, but I moved to Seattle officially, and I do this live stream every Thursday and Friday. And it's usually just a way for me to answer any questions that you guys might have coming into the live stream. Verizon commercial. I'm not really understanding what you mean by that. So finally moved into the new apartment. And yeah, go ahead and let me know if you guys have any questions. I am hoping to really start, now that I've moved and everything, I'm really hoping to actually increase the number of videos I'm able to put out in the near future. So just reminds me I needed to respond to someone. So go ahead and put whatever questions you might have about the world of analytics here. I might repurpose. Hey, what's up, Paula? Yes, happy Friday to you too. So I might actually be repurposing the Friday streams to do an activity. I find that I get fewer questions on my Friday streams and I get way more on my Thursday morning streams. So I might make the Friday streams about something else, or I might drop the Friday stream and do it at a different time in the form of a kind of a study session or something like that, because I've also found that the Friday streams can sometimes get in the way of plans I might have on a Friday evening. Probably not so much while I'm in Seattle because I'm doing it at 5 p.m. Pacific time, but definitely it was an issue earlier. What's my computer setup? So I have an Asus Zephyrus M16. I have an LG monitor. It's a 35-inch curved monitor, and I have a Mauno microphone. It's just some a cheap but highly rated microphone I was able to find on Amazon. I know a lot of the YouTubers and podcasters use those Shure mics, but honestly, after a certain point, I really don't know if quality matters all that much unless you're making MKBHD level videos, which I really am not, nor am I really going for that either. So, all right, how do you think remote jobs have changed onboarding for companies? That's a really good question. Give me 1 second. I just have to send out one real text. I wish I had taken you guys outside. So now that I'm in a new city, I'm trying to go to a different snack place after work every single day just to get to know the area and get to know the restaurants and everything in the area. Plus, if I spend just $5 a day on the snack stuff, it's it's not that expensive. So I was thinking about that. So Kyriakos Koulapis. How do you think remote jobs have changed onboarding for companies? So I think the biggest thing is that a lot of companies, especially large ones, have had these onboarding practices that they had set up for the real world. And probably the biggest thing is that you can't just as a new hire, you can't just go around and see what everyone's up to, or people can't I think one of the biggest things is that people can't just tell when you're not working, which is, both a good and a bad thing. I think that the whole remote remote work thing has made it to where if you don't have to work 8 hours a day, then you just don't have to, as long as you get your work done. People are a lot more okay with you just getting your work done. But as far as actually onboarding, I think because you can't tell if someone's not busy or not, sometimes companies don't give enough work to new hires just because you can't tell when someone's not working anymore. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing I've noticed. There just is a very realistic situation in which you're just not really given enough work to actually occupy your time. All right. So I'm actually in the process of selling my car right now, but my car is in Dallas, and so I have to coordinate between my brother and a possible buyer. So that's why I'm sending out texts every once in a while. All right, so Gaurav Srinivas, planning on buying a new laptop. I'm not a Mac user. What's the config you would suggest for a data analyst? Honestly, I think that as long as you have a good CPU, and that's all I think really matters. A good CPU, like a good screen, if you can get one, because you're going to be staring at your screen a lot. And unfortunately, and this is where my bias for MacBooks come in, the PC world has a very, very large variety of screen qualities. Whereas, like, if you get a Mac, you're getting a solid screen. Like there's a lot of stuff that, like, when you get a Mac, you just know you're getting a solid laptop with it. But like with PCs, you can spend a lot of money on a PC and still get a really bad screen. And so I would say, look out for the screen, the keyboard, and the CPU. Make sure those are all spec'd out fairly well, because those are the things you'll be interacting with the most. GPUs and stuff are usually not that important unless you're just running a ton of neural networks and stuff. And even then, usually in those situations, you're offloading it to the cloud these days. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. All right, so, and I have an Asus Zephyrus M16 in case you're curious. But I got that mostly because I got a good deal on it, and because I like to game on the side every once in a while. So I was actually just playing Cyberpunk before you guys came on here. And let me know if you guys are interested in that. I'm thinking about doing like a gaming stream every once in a while, just like here and there whenever I like play games. I could answer like analytic questions like in the process as well. But I'm trying to think of like, excuse me, like I mentioned earlier, this Friday stream isn't as busy as I think it could be. And so I want to switch. I want to like move the Friday stream to a different day, or make the Friday stream something like maybe something a bit more fun. Like I'm doing some activity in the process, because I'm guessing that on a Friday evening, most people don't want to be like, thinking about analytics and stuff like that. And that's perfectly understandable. All right, what is the membership levels you have on the screen? Okay, so yeah, this is just something I like to have something on my screen whenever I do these live streams. I couldn't think of what to put on there, so I just put up my Patreon. Basically, it's just a way to support the content that I make. YouTube ad revenue is all over the place, and videos can perform in all different kinds of ways. I still don't know what makes a good performing video for me honestly. I think data cleaning videos seem to do very well. I probably should just post another one, honestly. Those just seem to do really well. But even then, it's like some do well, some don't. So we'll see. But basically, I have like one level on my Patreon, which basically, if you join that level, you get to join the Discord community. You get a direct line of communication to me. So you can message me through Patreon. And you get any notes that I create for like the hands-on machine learning book, the hands-on this practical statistics for data scientist book. And I'm trying to see like what's like the next project I want to take on for the patrons. So that's just there to, as a shameless plug of like, the Patreon. All right, Adamola. Hey, Shashank, how's your day going? Not bad. It's a little bit boring, honestly. Like, so I just moved to Seattle, right? And everyone I know is busy. So I don't really have anything to do, honestly. And I'm not really sure where to go, to be 100% honest, either. 'Cause the problem is it's also like it gets dark very, very quickly over here. So, that's probably like feeding into it. So I'm trying to see like where I would go next. I'm thinking I went to a boba shop yesterday and a tea shop the day before. And I'm trying to see like maybe there's like some third place I could go to. But like, I go there, I like have something, and then I come back and, there's not much to do. Yeah. But it's okay. It's just week one. Hopefully in like a couple more weeks, I'll have a few more people to hang out with. All right. Jacob. Viscachill. Is it viscachill? Python or R for data analyst. So either or, they're both great languages. I personally recommend Python because Python is a general purpose programming language. So if you find that you have no interest in the world of analytics, or you want to do something else entirely, then Python is a more general purpose programming language and can be used for more different things. So for example, you could get into the world of software engineering. So I recommend Python just because it's a more versatile language outside of analytics. And I would say that, you could spend a couple of years studying up, getting ready for analytics, and just kind of get bored with it after a while. And I think having allowing yourself to have more flexibility is just a service to yourself. One comment I will see quite often on my statistics video is R is better for statistics. Why don't you use that? And that's kind of the whole point. Python, like R is made for statistics, academia, and data science versus Python, which is just a general purpose programming language. So, yep. AN75, you mentioned before in a previous stream that you were going to ask some of the data scientists you work with to take part in these Q&As. Yeah, so I have been busy with the last couple of weeks just with like moving and everything. And even this week, like the actual like cost of buying furniture and everything is actually quite high. I tried to be relatively frugal, and I still ended up spending a couple $1,000s on this. So I'm trying to. So I'm spending I spent all of last week. I'm kind of spending like this week, like getting like my finances all back in order and everything. But yes, I will start. I am going to be going back to focusing on the YouTube channel, hopefully starting tomorrow. I plan on shooting and releasing a video on resumes tomorrow. I have a lot of great information on that, and I know I've been promising that video for a while. So stay tuned for that. Kyriakos. Okay, halfway through the Data Analyst course by Google. What are your thoughts on it? I think it's a tremendous course. I have no issues with it. I just wish they taught it in Python, but I think it's a great course. Yeah. What car are you getting? I'm looking for a new car too. So I am not getting a new car right now, but I did give my name to Toyota of Seattle because I'm looking to get a Toyota Supra, the Mark V one. And I either want a dark blue one from 2020 or a yellow or a gray turbulence one from 2021. And my understanding is 2022, they didn't really do anything to the car except for like this like weird carbon fiber package where they start charging $70,000 for the car. And I'm like, okay, well, at that price, you might as well just go get a Porsche or something. So yeah, I'm looking at a Toyota Supra, but it'll probably be a couple of months before I actually end up getting one. I have to get like the money sorted out. And then I don't know if there's much of a point to like driving it around in a Seattle winter, so. WOC, hey man, I really enjoyed the day in the life videos. Will you be making more? Sorry if anyone's asked already for Data Analyst. Yeah, I think I will. Those videos perform very well. So honestly, I'll probably make one just for that. I need to find another data cleaning exercise that I can show. The only problem is I have to like make a bunch of fake data for it and everything. So yeah, I'll probably make one soon too. Well, I might be able to shoot both that and the resume video tomorrow, honestly. And then I'll just have them like come out on a delay from one another. IH, hey, welcome IH. Should I learn VBA Excel for Data Analyst? Unless you know a very specific use case for it, I wouldn't recommend it. VBA is really old, and Microsoft's been trying to deprecate it for like years now. But Microsoft being Microsoft, they can't deprecate anything. They're like, their business model is selling to enterprises, and companies hate having things deprecated. And because of that, Microsoft really can't deprecate stuff quickly. So I wouldn't really recommend it personally, unless there's a very specific reason that you need to learn it. But yeah, like without that very specific reason, I wouldn't recommend it. Joshua Sufwa Taylor, why did you leave Dallas? Honestly, just getting bored. Dallas is a cool city. There's a lot of great stuff about Dallas. And I think the best way to describe it is that if you are looking for something very financially stable, and so like a higher earning city with a relatively low cost of living, but also little to do outside of like sports and just hanging out with people here and there, then I think Dallas is a great city. It's a really great place to live, like a very middle class lifestyle, and that's not at all a bad thing. It just, that's just kind of what it is. It doesn't have much in the way of like culture or like, yeah, I guess culture's the way to put it. So yeah, that's kind of why I left. I wanted to go somewhere where like more tech stuff was happening, and quite honestly, like in that case, like New York, San Francisco, or Seattle are kind of the big cities in America for a lot of tech stuff. That's where I was going for. I'm looking to start my own business in a couple of years, and so hopefully, just being around people over here, looking around, I'll like meet some people that I'm like, oh, maybe I want to like start a company with these people in the future. So, the fighter jet. I've gone over your SQL course a few times and it's great. Do you have any suggestions for resources or websites to practice the skills? Well, thank you so much. HackerRank. If you're looking to practice SQL skills, HackerRank is going to be your best friend. AM, like Tidy Tuesday for R on YouTube, data analysis free for all. Oh, interesting. I'm not sure what that is. Tidy Tuesday. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of this. But yeah, I might do something like this. The thing is, I would like to start something that like kind of works like a podcast. Like I wouldn't mind that at all. The only problem is I need to find like something different and compelling that I can actually like, that people would actually care to see or like to listen about on a podcast, right? There are a lot of great podcasts out there. How to win a job or how to get a job in analytics. Excuse me. So, I'm looking to do something a little bit different. So if you guys have any ideas for an analytics podcast, let me know. Like, even if I was to do interviews, like, I would have to get on some very interesting guests, or like more than talk about stuff that's super interesting. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Okay. Priyank Vlogs, were you forced to move to Seattle, or was it your choice? So Nordstrom is asking us to move to one of 5 cities. I think it was Seattle, Denver, LA, Atlanta, or Chicago. Yeah, one of those 5 cities, I believe. 4 or 5 cities. And Seattle, they may ask us to come back into office early next year. Long story short, no. I moved just because I was getting kind of bored in Dallas. I was getting very complacent and bored and everything. And I spent all my time working. That's another thing. You'll find out in Dallas, people almost always talk about sports or work because there's not much else to talk about over there. Yeah, I lived there for 14 years, and it's a great city for what it's really good at. But as a young person, I wouldn't, I don't want to really be there, honestly. But I found that, like, being in Dallas, honestly, I was just spending all my time just working. I would do my regular Nordstrom job, and then I would go do consulting, and then I would go do YouTube. So moving to Seattle, I'm hoping to do more stuff here that I can let go of most of my consulting and just kind of live more of a life. So long story short, they never forced me to move here. I wanted to. Do you make use of PowerPoint for presentation or data storytelling? Yes, PowerPoint is extensively used at our company in order to present insights. You'll find that people, the higher up you go, they have a lot of them have presentation styles they're very comfortable with, and PowerPoint's a very safe way to present information to basically anyone in a company. WOC, do I have a chance to get a job with basic SQL but a decent level of Excel? Yeah, I think so. I got my first analytics job without any knowledge of anything except for, I knew Excel. But yeah, I would work on your SQL skills. I have a free SQL course if you're at all interested. Let's see. Your channel. And then, and by the way, we passed 50,000 subscribers. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for all the subscriptions. We passed 50,000 subscribers, big 5-0. Let's get to 100,000 before this time next year. Okay, so yeah, SQL for data scientists in 1 hour. Copy link address. There you go. That's my SQL course in case you want to learn more SQL. Rahan Khan, what is the best way to self-teach data science? So I believe that I have some of the best courses on this stuff available. So I would say my SQL course, my Python course down here, my Tableau course. If you know those 3 things, you're having you have the basic, the super foundation of data science. Okay, do you know how to program? Do you know how to do BI stuff? And do you know how to do SQL? Can you pull data? Can you clean it? And can you present it? And then from there, I would start looking at my hands-on machine learning guides. You'll see I start off with chapter 2 over here. Chapter 1 is just, what is machine learning? And chapter 2 explains it so well. I didn't see the point of going over chapter 1. So chapter 2 onwards, you'll see a lot of great information over there. And then I even have a set of videos on, how well did this perform? 11,000 views, not bad. I have a set of videos on, let's see. Practical statistics for data scientists. This one actually performed very well. I'm not exactly sure why, but it just did. So I would recommend those videos, Rehan, to get started. Alan, hey Shashank, for data analysts, is it better to specialize masters in one program or just be a jack of all trades? I think that you should start off as a jack of all trades and then find out what you want to do. There's a very big difference between liking something and then working on it and then liking to work on it. So I would definitely recommend being starting off as a jack of all trades, but then becoming a T-shaped person. It's what Johnny Ive, the former design lead at Apple, used to say. He is a T-shaped person where you're very good at one thing, but then you have a wide amount of knowledge you have knowledge on a wide number of things. All right, guys, I'm a little bit thirsty. Let me get some water. I'll be right back. All right, let's see what other questions we have over here. Resume is cool. Looking for a new gig and to put my and have to put on my highest heels and shortest skirt, metaphorically speaking. That's funny. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Definitely not a metaphor I've heard of, but it makes sense. At the end of the day, your resume is so key to getting like the interview, which will get you to your job. And so the video I'm putting out tomorrow, I feel like it'll be one of the most in-depth videos on technical resumes on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. Let's see, will tools like Quantum SPSS help me in my data analyst career? Depends on if your company's using them. That's why I recommend things like R, SQL, Python, and Tableau. These are just like generalized tools that like a lot of companies use. So what city are you living in? I'm living in Seattle right now. Colors for your new car, blue or yellow, based on the model or just because? Based on the model. It's because that car looks very good in yellow. I think yellow is like a color that like, it really depends on what car you get, whether it makes sense or not. Hey Shank, how's your movement going, settling in? Yeah, I think I've like mostly settled in right now. There's just like I have all the necessities, my apartment's like the basics are set up. Now I have to figure out how to buy groceries. That's probably the hardest part because I don't want to just, I want to avoid a lot of clutter and stuff. So I need to figure out like what groceries make the most sense to get. And I'm kind of like buying stuff piecemeal. Like, so as I need it, I buy it. So for example, like I need a pot. And so, that should actually be here today. So I can start making ramen finally. Otherwise I didn't have anything to boil water in, but yeah, making progress. Prashant P. Hi, sir. I'm from India. My name is Prashant. I'm a commerce student. Am I going good? Love from India. Well, welcome, Prashant from India. Where in India are you from? So I think this is a little bit of a difficult question. I think that if you know Python, SQL, Tableau, and Excel, then you're a really well-prepared candidate for the analytics world. So I wouldn't be too worried about the commerce thing. And yeah, no, I think you're totally solid. Jay Patel, what do you think of data analytics in a Web3 world? So when you say Web3, what do you mean? Like I think I've heard of this. It's when the internet is like in everything. Is it like, does it refer to like IoT and stuff like that? Jacob, is it possible to learn enough just for Udemy courses? If not, do you have any other recommendations? By the way, good pronunciation is my surname. Yeah, no, of course. Thank you. I'm guessing it's Eastern European because that looks like Cyrillic to me. Well, it's not Cyrillic. It's a Latin character with like the little like U on top of it. So Jacob Viscachill. So yeah, I think it is. I think you can learn a lot of it just through Udemy courses. So I'm a huge proponent, and it's why I haven't made like a paid course yet with knowledge that I don't provide for in my like free ones. It's because I don't think you need to pay for this knowledge. None of it is like at the basic level. None of it is so specialized that like it needs to be that expensive. So that's why I have all my free courses. So I think that, or let me rephrase it. I don't think you need to pay that much for it. That's what I should say. Obviously it costs a lot of money in the form of time for people to make these courses, but the knowledge is all out there freely. So, you shouldn't, if you really don't want to pay, I didn't pay a single cent to learn any of the skills that I did. And no one else needs to either. They're skills that there are enough free resources that you can pick them up yourself if you want to. But Udemy for sure is a great resource. And I did buy a Udemy course once for machine learning. Then I forgot about it. And then I like relearned everything myself after that. But Udemy is great. Yeah. 365 data science is awesome. Thank you so much, Paola's Picks. Yes, she is right. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. What do you use for a big set of data? What is it called? PySpark usually. Pedro Macaya, nada que preguntar, solo gracias por tus videos son muy buenos. Oh, thank you. So for anyone that doesn't understand, he's saying, I don't have anything to ask. Just thanks for your videos. You're very good videos. So thank you so much, Pedro. Shlok Daima. Sir, where can I get quality stats lecture free? Right here. I have my practical statistics for data scientist scientist video. So check it out. I'll even copy that link for you and I'll paste it right here. Shlok Daima. Yeah, good morning, guys. Good morning. All right, so it is a Friday evening, so we have our beer. I just got a Budweiser because I couldn't. So I went to the CVS across the street, The problem with living in the center of the city is that, so I went like last Saturday to get like a 6-pack. And the problem with living in the middle of the city is that on a Friday night or a Saturday night, there's literally no stock of any like beers at all. Actually, I went there and I got a Heineken 0 alcohol. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to, no offense to anyone out there, but I'm not going to drink a, alcohol-free beer. So I had to go return it. And then this was the only thing they had left. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll get this. But I definitely want to get like better beer for my fridge. Also, I'm looking to like make a bar. If anyone has any suggestions as like how I should start, like I've always wanted to get into like casual bartending, like mixing cocktails and stuff like that. So if you have any suggestions, let me know as like what I should have. I'm thinking I'm going to get like a gin, a vodka, a tequila. The tequila is mostly because my girlfriend likes tequila. I don't really care much for it. But like what else should I buy to like economically start a bar? And then I like build on it from there. What kind of job title should I be looking for at an entry-level data analyst position? Data analyst is a great one. Sometimes data scientist will be the title. Business analyst. Business analyst was the first title I got. So my official title originally was a business analyst, but I was really doing data analyst work. So yeah, that's what I would say. June, how can I improve my data modeling, data cleaning, and validation skills? That is a good question. So those are all 3 different questions, kind of. Well, data cleaning and validation are kind of the same thing. So I would recommend if you want to improve your data cleaning and validation skills, data cleaning is hard, right? Because you have to find dirty data. Learn how to do some basic web scraping. I have some videos on that as well. I think I have I guess I don't have a video where I like actually teach you guys how to web scrape. So I could make a video on that as well. Yeah. Absinthe. Okay. So absinthe is on the list. Is absinthe, it's a liqueur, right? Yeah, anise flavored. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a smart idea. Like something I can mix with a lot of different stuff. A lot of stuff probably uses absinthe inside it. Okay. Yeah, we'll check it out. All right. But June, to answer your question, as far as data cleaning, what I would recommend, go ahead and see if you can scrape some data off the internet. Look up beautiful soup and requests and look at maybe like a Python data scraping tutorial. And you'll get the data in a dirty format that needs to be cleaned, basically. I think that's how you practice it. Or that's how you improve it. The only way to improve it is to practice, and that's one way to practice. Basically, you need to get a hold of some dirty data. And as far as validation, just start looking for mistakes that are common whenever you're data cleaning. So a really popular mistake is you will see when you do a join between 2 tables that the number of columns or the number of rows you end up with is not accurate, as in like you have like a multi-join or something like that. And so I recommend picking up some, or like kind of just being like, okay, so when I do a join from here to here, how many records do I have? Like writing out some functions to check for that. Pandas has some automatic functions to check for that. But by building it yourself, you'll kind of like pick up these skills anyways. And every time you make a mistake, go ahead and write it down. Yo, what's up, man? Thank you so much for coming in. Munchina, then I love the last name. I've always loved your last name. Thank you so much for coming through. Ricard Pastis. What's that? Anise. So is Ricard Pastis the same thing as absinthe? Like, is it a type of absinthe, basically? I've never heard of this. This is cool. Oh, and one of the best things about Seattle is that you can serve alcohol any day of the week until 2 a.m. here. In Texas, there are so many liquor laws that make it difficult to where, like, if you didn't purchase your alcohol before, like, I think it's like 10 p.m. on a Saturday night, you can't get it in a lot of cities in Texas. You just can't get alcohol anymore. So, like, you have to make sure that you purchase all your alcohol beforehand. Like, you can get beers, but you can't get liquors. And then, like, there's so many cities in Texas that just, like, don't serve alcohol. Like, or they don't, like, sell spirits at all. Like, all the cities next to me, I had to go 2 cities over in order to get, like, spirits half the time. So, yeah, that's one great thing about Seattle. Like, I mean, if I really want, I can just go get something right now, basically up until 2 a.m. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to go shopping for alcohol at 2 a.m., so I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. Let's see. WOC, can you give a brief rundown of just how much Python, SQL, and Excel we need to know? So WOC, so I can't speak on Excel. For Excel, I know pivot tables, HLOOKUPs, VLOOKUPs, and stuff around that level. I don't know, and data validation. I know data validation in Excel. So, like, I know those things. As far as how much Python you need to know, that's where my Python course comes in handy. Watch the Python course. I have, like, an entire Notion page. And I have this, like, entire, like, glossary over here where you can see all, or not glossary, this index over here where you can see table of contents, where you can see all the different stuff that we go over. So go ahead and check out for Python, check out my Python course. For SQL, check out my SQL course. And yeah, that'll give you a good idea of what you need to know. Rahan Khan, do you think it's worthwhile doing a boot camp if I don't have a background in data science? It depends on how much you pay for it. Some boot camps are like $10,000. I've even seen some like come close to $20,000, which is like, dude, you're almost charging a college degree for this stuff. So I think if you can find one at a good price and they guarantee you a job, a bootcamp that doesn't guarantee you a job and is expensive is a waste of a bootcamp. It needs to guarantee you a job if it's going to be expensive. If it's like a $1,000 bootcamp and they don't guarantee you a job, like, okay, fine, whatever. But like if you're talking like multiple thousands of dollars, they better guarantee you a job. So I think boot camps can work. Just be very, very careful because there are a lot of people that are like there's a lot of money going into ed tech right now and into alternative education. And whenever you see an industry where like a lot of money is just being funneled into it, there's a lot of people who are just there to make money and not actually add value, which is my way of saying just be careful. So you definitely can, but just be careful. So for a minibar setup, keep some bitters handy. Also lime juice, minced ginger, and a couple of simple syrups infused or plain. That's a good idea. Okay, I think that's a solid idea. Eddie Baze, yep, that's the So like I said, I think boot camps can be worthwhile. Let me say this first. Anything you want to learn can be learned for free. Whether you want to pay money for that or not is entirely up to you. But anything you want to learn can be learned for free. It may not be the best way to learn. Like for example, I am thinking about getting a physical trainer sometime soon because there's so much information out there in relation to just getting buff basically or like working out, and it's not something I want to spend a bunch of time trying to figure out. I'd rather someone just tell me what to do and I execute on it while I spend my time doing stuff like this, stuff I'm actually good at. So, in that sense, a boot camp can be very useful, or paying for something can be useful. So me saying that everything is available for free is not me saying you have to do it for free, just that if you don't want to pay, you don't have to. So, Pacific Northwest has awesome microbrews and local brew. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, you know what? Brewery tour. There you go. Okay, cool. I was looking for like what should I like do tomorrow? So again, all my friends are busy. So I have no one to hang out with, and I'm in a brand new city. So I was like, okay, well, like, what do I do? And I've seen a lot of the tourist stuff inside Seattle. Brewery, perfect idea. I'm gonna go check that out. Okay, next question. What's the difference between a data analyst and business intelligence? Excuse me. So one important thing to remember is that in this field, titles can kind of go all over the place. Like you can have data analysts doing data science work, you can have data scientists doing data analyst work, and you can have BI people doing data analyst work. Generally speaking, BI people don't write SQL. They're usually getting data that's already been formatted for them and creating dashboards out of it. So they're kind of like, they're taking data that already exists and is clean, and usually they are creating something out of that. They are creating insights out of that in the form of a dashboard. A data analyst is usually one step below them in the process, meaning that they're like cleaning up the data, getting the SQL dashboard ready, and putting everything together. That being said, that's probably why data analysts can be paid more than BI people typically can. And data scientists are kind of a level below that, where data scientists tackle very specific problems, usually where direct data is not available. So it's not just a data cleaning exercise for data scientists, it's also a data like creation exercise where they need to like model out stuff so that it makes sense. So I would say that's kind of that's the way I like to explain BI, data analyst, data scientist. it's kind of an inverted pyramid where closest to the business, which is the top layer, are BI people. One level below that are data analysts, and one level below that are data scientists. One is not necessarily better than the other one. That being said, pay does seem to go up as you go further down the pyramid, but that doesn't mean one's necessarily better than the other one. What this is saying is that you are getting deeper and narrower usually as you go down. So hopefully that answered your question. Raw vlogs, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Yes, Paulus. I know you also said you were like really into wine and stuff like that. So, all right, yeah. So this Ricard Pastis thing, I've been told that this is to get this. Does anyone know? Is this absinthe? Like, what is it? Because it says anise, so it just sounds like absinthe to me, which is like, I mean, I'll take it, Naveen, hi Shashank, thanks for the crash course in Tableau. Really helped me get started with my job. How do you handle information overload? So usually, I'm kind of, and it's different for everyone, right? So I'm someone who has very, very little patience, and I'm very much, I am my happiest when I am taking action towards something. And so I don't know if I directly call myself a man of action, because anyone that knows me well enough also knows that I have a very difficult time making decisions sometimes, which can lead me to just like crippling inaction. So what I would say is what works for me, the reason I gave a lot is because this works for me, it may not work for everyone, is that when there's too much information available to me, I do a little bit of research. I pick a path that makes some sense, and I just go in that direction and run as fast as I can until I run into some kind of a barrier where I'm like, okay, I don't want to go in this direction anymore for whatever reason. So a great example of that is, in determining what skills I want to build. So I actually didn't learn Python for the longest time because it just seemed too difficult and I didn't want to do it. So I started off with learning Tableau. And at one point, I basically ran into an issue where I couldn't accomplish more with Tableau. Like I more or less maxed out. I maxed out what could be reasonably accomplished with Tableau. So the thing is, there are these people called like Tableau Jedis, or like, I forgot what they were called, but basically they're like some of the best Tableau users in the world, and they can do some like crazy stuff with Tableau. The thing is, and no, not throwing any shade on them, but the thing is, they have reached a level of specialization that is so high that there can only be so many of them, because you can only have a need for so many of those people. Plus, I have experienced, what happens when people get too close to a technology, like a technology owned by a company, and you can only work with this one technology stack. And that's something Zen Masters, that's it. Yeah, Zen Masters. Yeah, that's what they're called. And so I didn't want to become that. Like I didn't want to become like a Tableau Zen Master or anything. So I was like, okay, so I know enough about Tableau to get by. What do I do next? And then so I learned SQL, because I was like, okay, well I need to do more data cleaning that like I can't just do inside Tableau. What do I do next? So then I learned SQL. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, I need to do some data transformations that like just don't seem to be handled very well in SQL. What do I do? So then I learned Python. And the reason it was easy for me to come do Python a couple of years later was because now that I had a need for it, the motivation existed for me to learn it. I'm like, oh, well, if I don't learn this, I can't do anything. So, or I can't advance, I'd say. And so that's kind of my very long way of answering your question. I believe this was... Where was the question? Whose question was that? Oh, it was like down here, right? Yeah, so sorry, Naveen, to answer your question, I kind of just start and run in one direction until I run out of like, reasonable stuff I can do with it. Now with Python, I would say from a data analyst perspective, I know more than I need to with Python. I could build better software engineering skills in Python for sure. But as far as data analyst stuff is concerned, like I've reached a level of Python to where companies won't pay me significantly more to do significantly different stuff. There's a point of diminishing returns basically, where you can become this mega expert, like June mentioned a Tableau Zen Master. I'm not really that type of guy. I don't want to become like a super expert in any single technology. So it's similar to, I'm familiar with per node, but not Ricard Pastis. Okay, what's per node? So for anyone that's wondering what we're doing right now, I want to build a little mini bar in my apartment. And so if you have any suggestions, as to what could go inside it, let me know. So far I have bitters, which that does make sense. Obviously I do want to pick up a whiskey as well. Vodka, gin, tequila, lime, ginger, absinthe, Ricard pastis, Pernod, and absinthe are the suggestions we have so far. And this is just a beautiful glass. All right. Lots of questions. I'm going to pick which one seems the most interesting to me. Yeah, of course, man. Doritos con salsas. Did I answer your question? Okay, I did over here. Cool. Let's see what else do we have. Okay, Eddie Boz. Oh, wait, I already answered that question. Matt Smith, have you ever thought about doing your own startup? 100%. And I've been lucky enough through this YouTube channel to actually be in contact with some startups, one of which is actually going to be sponsoring a video that will be coming out around Christmas time. So get prepared for that one. That one's going to be a lot of cool stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff in that one. It's another mega course. Like I have like my Python course, I have my statistics course. We have another course coming out for free. And this one's actually going to be sponsored by this company. So I'm really excited for that. So as far as doing my own startup, I've definitely thought about it. And luckily I've been able to meet a lot of startups through just being running this YouTube channel. And it's giving me a better idea of what is a good product that warrants a startup. But that's kind of what I've always wondered. How do I make a product that warrants an entire company behind it? And I'm getting better ideas now. So, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I reach I kind of see it working out one of two ways. I reach a manager level in corporate America, and then I decide to go do my own startup, or I reach a director level, and then I decide to go do my own startup. The benefit of the director level is one thing that I've kind of always thought about is that if I'm really into cars, right? And if you want to be at the top of the car industry, you kind of have to either be you kind of just have to grind your way up a company. Usually, there's a corporate ladder you have to go up because making cars is so complicated and it's so resource intensive that only immensely rich people like Elon Musk, who was a billionaire by the time he started with Tesla, or companies that are already very well established, or companies that have state backing. If you look at almost all of the Asian car companies, they almost all had some form of state backing. That's the only way you can make a car company. So great example. How did the Japanese become so good at making cars? How did they become so big when America was America and Europe were the dominant car making nations in the world? Well, the short answer is the Korean War. Basically, Toyota and I think Nissan at the time, they had just started building up factories. The U.S. was trying to build up the Japanese economy, and then the Korean War starts, and all of a sudden the U.S. needs a bunch of Jeeps in Korea. So the contract goes to Toyota, and I believe Nissan as well, in order to build a bunch of Jeeps to ship to Korea because, Japan's right there. And, that's a form of government support, honestly. A bunch of material needed for warfare is, it's government support because only a government can declare war. And so long story short, I'm in reference to making my own startup. That's kind of the push-pull I have where I'm I could go really high up in something like automobiles where I don't know if you can make a startup really with a car company. Maybe some specific technology within a car company, but I don't know. It's so resource intensive that I don't know if you can really do it. Or I can make my own technology startup where I sell a technology product. One cool thing to do would be to kind of just sell a technology product for a couple million and have myself set up for life. And then after that, just truly do whatever I want with my life. Who knows? Does data analyst scientists need to know CS stuff such as dynamic programming, data structures, and algorithms? No, I don't think so. Eventually, you'll want to know some basic stuff. Some basic algorithms will be helpful, but no, I don't believe an entry level of any of those positions needs to know that stuff. Do you have any insights into geospatial data science? Not really, unfortunately. I do apologize. Sahil 2, roadmap for data analyst. Learn a BI tool such as Tableau or Power BI. Learn SQL, and if you have time, learn a programming language like Python or R. I have a free course on all of that stuff on my channel. I have a free Tableau course, I have a free Python course, and I have a free SQL course on my channel, so check those out. June Jung, will you post the recording for this? Thank you for the Q&As. You're one of my favorite analyst YouTubers, super insightful. Well, thank you so much. Yes, so the recordings of my live streams are always on my channel shortly after the thing happens. I think there was only one or two I deleted. One, because I said something that was like factually incorrect in it, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to spread this further. And then another one because the connection was so bad, like you couldn't even watch it, like no one understood what was going on. So those are only two I scratched, but yeah. Thank you so much, Naveen. Let's see. Christian Vera, how can I deal with this error in Visual Studio Code? Okay, so running cells with Python. Yeah, so this is a very common error. So, Christian Vera, are you on a Mac or a PC? If you're on a PC, hit the Windows key and type in Anaconda. If you're using Anaconda, if you're using pip, then basically go install ipykernel using either pip or conda. I use conda, so I need to type in Anaconda prompt, and then I need to type in conda install ipykernel, and then restart your Visual Studio Code, and it'll work. Tiki rum Mai Tai is an amazing drink. Would recommend. Okay, let's see what this is. What is a Tiki Mai Tai rum? Is it a beer? Or is it like a... Let's see. 1900. Yeah, is it like a... Is this what you're talking about? Daniel? Oh, look! Oh, it looks really good. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on this. Nishad Siraj. Is it normal to get demotivated on occasion when working with more experienced data scientists? They move much faster, which I guess would come from... Yeah, 100%. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Thank you. So is it normal to get demotivated on occasion when working with more experienced data scientists? They move much faster than me, which I guess comes from experience. You're 100% right. It comes from experience. I think the only thing that you should remember is that don't get it in your head that people are smarter than you. I think that's a very dangerous mentality to adopt. I think whenever you see someone doing significantly better than you at something, try and have a growth mindset about it of like, okay, if I want to be as good as they are at this thing, how do I get there? How do I get better at it? And I add that because, for example, like there are people that are way better than me at a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know, like, I have a friend. He has significantly more emotional intelligence. No, that's not a good example because I want to have that. So like something that I wouldn't, for example, a lot of people know about fashion, like high fashion significantly more than I do. And, I work in fashion retail. So sometimes when I hear about that stuff, I'm like, oh wait, should I like know how this stuff works? But then I look at it and I'm like, okay, like I'm very happy for them, but I don't particularly want to like become more informed about high fashion. Plus it doesn't really affect Nordstrom's business. Honestly, like high fashion is just like, we don't do anything with that. But I think first of all, like see if what they're doing is what you want to be better at. Because everyone's going to be better than you at something, and you need to decide, do I want to be better at this thing or not? And then after that, go ahead and kind of take a growth mindset towards it. Ask them, how did they learn this thing? How did they learn that thing? How much time have they spent learning? And stuff like that, Start asking like questions to figure that out. Gaurav Kumar. I'm beginner. How can I start learning? Tell me the source. My channel, Python, SQL, Tableau. Go to the search bar on my channel. Look up those 3 videos. I have free courses on all those things. Jacob, okay, from scratch to get the job level as a data analyst or scientist, how long realistically? I'm from the Czech Republic. Czech Republic is Central Europe. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. I read a book recently by a Czech author. Let me see if I can find it. I think the Czech Republic is where the Velvet Revolution happened, right? And I think this was the guy, Václav Havel. Or Vaclav. Yeah, this is it. So I was in Hungary, actually. I was in Budapest. And I got this book. I think this guy is he's one of the guys that like led the Velvet Revolution. And I think he became the first president of the Czech Republic, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, no, it was yeah. I read his book. It was a very, very good book. Plus, so I'm from Texas, obviously, right? So every once in a while, I like to go to the shooting range. The CZ75, amazing gun. It's a handgun made in the Czech Republic, for anyone not aware. Beautiful, beautiful gun, though. Really, really nice one. But how long realistically from the Czech Republic, Central Europe? Okay, cool. So I think that is a little bit different. So that's a little bit difficult because I don't work in the European market, and my understanding is that the European market is they have kind of a higher like the barrier to entry in Europe is, my understanding, a little bit higher than it is in the US. And so I recommend I would say a year. If you really want to bookmark some time, I would say a year is kind of like speeding it through, right? So you could spend like 6 to 8 months learning the skills and 4 to 6 months applying for a job, you know? Yeah. I would say if you're doing this full time, then that's realistic. Otherwise, if you have other stuff you need to do, like you have another job already, then your timeline might be more like 1.5 years, realistically, I think. But really, it just comes down to how fast you're able to learn the material, really, and start applying and convince people that you know what you're talking about. So that's what I would recommend. Also, I would say if you know a BI tool, that's enough to get started in a lot of analytics jobs, especially entry level. So I would also add that in there. Yash Singh. Can a business undergrad be a data scientist? This is a difficult one because I know people who are, or I know people who at least told me they're data scientists on this live stream and just have a bachelor's degree. Although you will have a difficult time. Oh, hey, what's up, Zach? Thank you so much for coming in. Yeah, got the Emory Pre-Call shirt on. So Zach went to college with me. But yeah, I would say that, where are we? Long story short, I would say I wouldn't bet on it. There are people who I know on the live stream, like when I've said, no, you can't do that, they're like, oh, I've done that. So I would say, like, okay, yes, you technically can. I would say your chances are relatively low of getting a data scientist position at a large company. Right, with just a bachelor's degree and a business degree too. So if you want to go straight to a master's degree, I would recommend a stats degree. That's probably your best bet if you want to become a data scientist. A stats degree is probably your best bet. Magmatic91. Oh, hey, great to see you. Is data scraping important to master for data analysts? I don't think so. I know web scraping mostly because I do consulting on the side, and a lot of my clients need web scraping work done. Web scraping is a very easy skill to sell on Upwork. That's why I know it. So. Christian Vera, thank you. I'm in PC and I was following your Python course and I got stuck with IPython. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm glad that helped you out. This is a really common error that comes up for a lot of people. Heritage Distilling has a Seattle tasting room, so check them out. Oh, cool. Yeah, let me let's see. Let's copy this. Cool. This gives me something to do tomorrow. I'll check it out. Shark Attack, dang, you're old. That's the first time I've gotten that. Just out of curiosity, what makes you say that I'm old? Thank you so much. Tyler, oh, let me read this first. Yes, you're absolutely right. Velvet Revolution. Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, no, it was a really cool book. I really liked it. And I just happened to see, like, Budapest has a lot of, like, just really cool bookstores. It's such a cool city. I didn't know much about it before going there, but when I went there, it was just beautiful. Would you call Hungary Eastern Europe, or would you call it Central Europe, Jacob? Let me know. Is it Jacob or is it like Yakub or something? Let me know if I'm pronouncing your first name correctly. Tyler Jackson, do you have any advice for someone entering their first internship as a data analyst in the insurance industry? My background both in work and degree is finance. I am my final year of school. Okay, wait, do you have an internship? That's a tough one. Oh yeah, of course, Yash. That is a tough one. Do you have any advice for someone entering their first internship as a data analyst in the insurance industry? Ask as many questions as you can, and I would say ask. Shark Attack. That's funny. No, yeah. I put in 1900 as my birth age. Tyler Jackson. So do you have any advice? I would recommend going in, ask as many questions as you can. A lot of interns will try and show off how much they know because they think that that makes them appear more hireable. But I think asking more questions is really a better way to go about it because, and for anyone that's attended my live streams, you know I have all these rants against college. But long story short, most people coming out of college don't know that much, quite honestly, in relation to like the world of analytics. It's not taught very well in school, if at all, which is why I would highly recommend, and everyone in the workforce knows that, you know, so they're like, oh, okay, like if some kid is coming in from like college and he's like, you know, talking about how much he knows and everything, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we'll see. So I would recommend asking a ton of questions, showing a lot of curiosity. That's probably your best bet to make a good impression with the, company that you're working with. I like your Spanish. Well, thank you. Thank you. Where do you work? Nordstrom. I work at Nordstrom in Seattle. I finally got proof of it. So they gave us, so I work in Nordstrom Technology. So I don't know if y'all can see that, but they gave us these really nice mugs. So I work in data science and analytics. But yep. AN75, would you ever go into software engineering considering that there's some crossover between DS and CS? Probably not. I think I would rather go more into a like product side than into software engineering. Yeah, so probably not. I don't think I'd want to. Fatima, I will be earning a PhD in chemistry. Congratulations. I have a degree in chemistry, actually, bachelor's. And I've heard in some podcast panels that proficiency in Python, SQL, and Tableau isn't important to get a job as a PhD, but I'm doubtful. Would you agree with that? Yeah, I'm very doubtful of that, too. So I know a couple of PhDs in I know a couple of PhDs that like work with me, and what they did after they realized that they didn't want to like pursue the normal PhD path, which is kind of like being a professor or like doing research or something like that. They went to a boot camp that taught them R or Python and SQL and Tableau, I believe. So I'm skeptical of the idea that just because someone has a PhD that they don't need to learn these skills, because how will you apply any of your knowledge? So I think your skepticism is well-founded. That being said, this is very much just like my experience with it. And anyone that I know, even if they have a PhD, they know at least Python and SQL. Because how do you manipulate data without knowing those languages, honestly? So Fatima, I think that you should learn Python, SQL, and Tableau. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. The Rack got a cool few jackets over there. Looks like people that have a great presentation. Awesome, great to hear it. What were you doing before Nordstrom? I worked at a company called CSC ServiceWorks, which is, I believe, the biggest owner-operator of laundry machines in North America. Well, at least in the U.S. I'm not sure about North America, but definitely in the U.S. Really cool company, super cool boss. Loved working over there. But it wasn't the right fit for me at the time. Shashank, maybe a bit off topic. Magmatic. Yeah, you're right. Saw a lot of job seeking web scraping skills on Upwork. Yeah. It's especially once you know how to like dissect if a web scraping job is easy or not. You can find a really easy job, do the web scraping ahead of time, send the client a section of it and say, hey, the job is already done. Hire me and I'll give you the rest of this data set. And then they'll hire you instantly. So yeah, it's a very good skill to know if you want to just like make some money on Upwork. Thank you so much, Tyler Jackson. All right, so maybe a bit off topic, but any early startups that have caught your eye or anyone's looking that they have potential? Again, love what you're doing over here. So actually, Zach, how about this? Go ahead and hit me up on if you have my phone number or on like Facebook Messenger or something after this. I have a couple that I know about, but I don't want to talk about them too much on the live stream because some of them are going to be future they're going to be sponsoring videos in the future. And I want to keep it like on the DL for now. So, but one I can tell you about is Streamlit. I use their tools, amazing tools. And I'm in contact with a VC from Siemens. So Siemens has a fund. So Siemens, like the German GE, basically. They have a fund where they basically took $1 billion and they gave it to these, like, a couple of people and said, go across the West Coast and find American companies that work in data and data science and stuff like that, and go spend our money there. And so one of those companies was Streamlit. When I told one of the VCs about Streamlit, she was super interested in funding them, or sorry, in talking to them. I can't say funding them, in talking to them. And they'd already finished closed a couple of seed rounds, so they didn't really like need it at the time. But Streamlit is a great company. Notion, I use their tools all the time, and they're getting super popular as well. So yeah. We consider Hungary still as central. Eastern is Ukraine, Russia, Belarus. Okay, cool. Good to know. Yeah, so I've never gone. Oh, what about Romania? I was in Romania as well, or is that still Central Europe? Romania has to be Eastern Europe, right? I don't know. That's let me know what you think about that. Would you know if Nordstrom is hiring computer vision interns at the moment? We're hiring a lot of PhD interns. I know that. I'm not sure if we're specifically hiring computer vision interns, but I don't know. Let's see. Nordstrom careers. Okay, so I don't really have a time limit for today, so I'm going to live stream until I finish this beer over here. That's that'll be the curtain call for today. Oh, got some messages. All right. Oh, we pronounce everything how it's written. So it's Jacob, not Jacob. Next time come to Prague, highly recommended. Czech beer is the best beer in the world by far, especially Pilsner. Yeah, definitely. I've always wanted to go to the Czech Republic. Really sounds like a really cool country. But yes, Nordstrom and computer vision. Let's see. Search jobs. And then let's see what pops up under internships. Okay, let's try this. Technology. I don't know if we're doing anything in computer vision quite yet. So I see a ton of engineering stuff over here. So I don't see anything in analytics right now. This might be the wrong time of the year, honestly, for internships. I'm guessing that a lot of them start in the summer, even the like PhD ones. Yeah, I'm not seeing any internships over here. So Pallavi, or was it Pallavi or was it Fatima that was asking for it? Yeah, so Pallavi, excuse me. For now, I don't think we're hiring specifically for that, unfortunately. AN75, how much salary increase do you get if you start working for a company with a master's degree as compared to a bachelor's degree in general? Aha, this is an interesting question. Okay, so if you have a master's degree but no experience, and you have a bachelor's degree with experience, my experience is actually the bachelor's degree will typically get paid more because people value experience a lot. And you can really hustle that experience to mean a lot. Yeah, that's what I would say. But if you're talking both with zero experience, well, I mean, you could be talking about like a $30,000-$40,000 difference, honestly. Yeah. So maybe like a 20 to 30% difference. I would say, see, the thing about a master's degree, right? And it depends on what you're talking about. Like the thing about a master's degree is it removes an artificial ceiling that's placed on you in a lot of companies. That's really what it does. It stops you from like getting, from kind of like hitting the ceiling of what you could do very early on in your career. That's what I really think a master's degree does. Yeah. Okay, Bossy Road and Dow. Hi, is there a site that I can use to practice after getting basic training in Tableau and SQL to boost my confidence and possibly create a portfolio thing? So as far as a site, I think what you really need is you need a data set, and the data.gov, so basically the US government's data website, where there's just a bunch of free data there. And What else would I say? I would also say Kaggle.com are great places to get some free data. Also, check out Makeover Monday. So Makeover Monday is this, I don't know if they still do it. But Makeover Monday is like this thing that created by, I think it was like Andy Kriebel, who's like a data visualization god. But basically what happens is there's a data set they release every Wednesday, every Monday or something like that. And then you go ahead and you like create a visualization in Tableau, usually using that data set. And then you post it onto Twitter, and then they will feature the ones that do the best. So that's something you can look into. How to get a data analytics job without degree and experience. That is very, very difficult. I always do say that, Pallavi, go ahead and send me a connect on LinkedIn. So get a data analytics job without degree and experience. That is a very, very, very difficult sell. I say that unfortunately, you usually need experience to get good jobs in the world of analytics. And I say unfortunately because at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of jobs I don't believe need experience. Like the job I had, nothing I learned in college actually helped me with the job. So that being said, I do think that like you probably do need that. Although I would recommend the Google Analytics certificate. Simranjeet, let's see. So this is part of the Grow.Google initiative. Oh, cool. I don't even know you could do that. This is part of the Grow.Google initiative. Basically, what happens is there's such a lack of people that can do tech jobs for the number of tech jobs we need. Yeah, of course, Pallavi. That what happens is Google, if you finish the certificate, they will count it as equivalent experience to you having a bachelor's degree in a relevant subject. So that's one way to go about it, you know? And then, yes, AM is right. UCI Data Repository also has tons of data to work with. Okay, so Jacob, what do you think about crypto? Is the future, is it a good investment? So here's the funny thing about crypto, right? Long story short, I believe that, so I'm a very conservative investor. I believe that you should put most of your money in the S&P 500 and forget about it. And then focus on how do you earn as much money as possible. Because, so for example, we're like, you know, if we were finance people, it'd be a little bit different. I think like playing around with day trading and stuff would make sense. But like as analytics people, I think it makes a lot of sense to really focus on like getting jobs and stuff that get us the most money. That being said, I'm very much an S&P 500 type of guy. Just invest in that, index funds, you're good. That being said, I think like 2% of my portfolio in crypto. And I think you could probably go up till 10% of your portfolio in crypto and like it not be a bad idea. The thing is, so here's the funny thing, right? Like if we're talking about crypto, if we're talking like the basic stuff like Bitcoin, Ethereum. So I'm not talking about like the scam tokens. I'm talking about like the, you know, the ones that are relatively well regarded. Then I would say it's a little bit funny because like in order for these things to be used as currencies, which is what everyone wants, they can't be an investment because then you end up with the same problem that Japan has been having for the last like 20 to 30 years, where like partially no one spends any money because the currency is constantly deflating and the economy is not growing because of, you know, there's 10,000 different reasons it doesn't grow. But one of Japan's biggest problems is that the currency it doesn't inflate. The thing is, when a currency inflates, people will actually spend the money because like, well, I better spend it today instead of tomorrow. So like, I mean, a great example is I have, I've been able to save a lot of money over the last year personally, right? And I am like looking for somewhere to put it. So I have a bunch in the S&P. I'm trying to see like where else I could put it because inflation is so high right now that I'm just losing money by leaving it in my portfolio. I mean, leaving it in my bank account. And so I would say 10 to 15% of your portfolio can go into crypto if you really believe in it, and it's probably a good idea. I would say, I just think of the idea of like investing, like the idea of like a currency being an investment as kind of weird. Because then it can't be a currency, because if it's constant, if it's gaining value, which means it's basically I don't know if that means it's deflating, but basically, like, if it's gaining in value, then no one wants to spend it, which, like, the purpose of currency is to be spent, you know? So those are kind of my thoughts on crypto. I don't think it should be an investment, but it is. In the world we live in today, it is. So, 10 to 20% of your portfolio, you're totally fine. All right, next question. Mathematic, what do you think about using Python frameworks such as Streamlit to build your data analytics web app? Amazing. I use Streamlit all the time, and I love it. Wrecked PUBG. Yeah, I'll check it out in a second. So Eddie Baza, do you have like a specific question? I can answer generalized questions about it. I don't answer questions about my current salary only because I don't know if it's a good idea. I can't really think of a reason it's not a good idea. Or, well, I can think of a couple of reasons it's not a good idea. Usually it has to do with like people I know. They don't necessarily have to know how much I make because like it can make your relationships with people kind of weird when they know your salary. And if you make a lot more than they do, or they make a lot more than you do, then it can create these like unnecessary feelings of like, it's not really jealousy, but like, long way or short way of saying, usually not. But if you want some basic, if you're asking like basic questions, like, then I can go ahead and ask the question, and then I'll let you know if I answer it or not. Expert Analyzer Doric.io. So let's see. I'm guessing this is a YouTube channel. Huh. It's a website. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Do you work with Splunk? I personally don't, but Nordstrom does use Splunk. Oh, cool. Okay, so Wrecked PUBG. Oh, wait, Wrecked PUBG. I probably should have asked you, do you want me to like go and look at it right now? Oh, this is cool. So, Prashant, I would say if you can get your name in this URL, that's 100% better. Prashant's a relatively common name, so I can see how you may not be able to get your name there. And Paolo's picks is 100% right. Like, salaries vary so much based on location, and they don't even vary like quote unquote correctly based on location. Great example. I was offered a job in LA from Dallas. I was in Dallas. I was offered a job in LA. They were basically going to pay me the exact same salary as I was in Dallas, but like with a 10% increase. They're like, oh, here's the increase to make up for the fact that you're in LA. But like in LA, like in California, taxes are like 10%. It's like 9 point something at a certain rate, at a certain salary. And so I was like, well, I mean, like this only makes up for those taxes and doesn't make up for all of the extra costs associated with living in California, which it is so expensive. It blows my mind. And even in Seattle, my salary here doesn't take into account the fact that buying a house here is so expensive. So as long as I don't want to buy a house in Seattle, the salary I'm being paid currently, very healthy. No problems at all. If I want to buy a house, then you start to run into problems where like on my old salary in Dallas, I could buy a house. I wouldn't say no problems at all. Like it definitely took some work because even the Dallas market's becoming kind of a little bit insane right now. But, long story short, Paulus is 100% right. There's so much like wishy-washiness with salaries that is hard to talk about. So for example, like 6 figures is like a magic number for a lot of people, right? But 6 figures in New York is very, 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 very different from 6 figures in Dallas, for example. So don't come to LA. Soylent Green is people. I have mixed feelings about LA. I have mixed feelings about LA. I'll put it that way. I was there for a couple of I was there a couple of times. The weather is amazing. My God. But yeah, no, I have mixed feelings about it. Like it kind of seems it's really funny because it's like so I consider myself just like generally like a liberal person. But it's really funny because you like go there and it seems like a lot of like it seems that poor people have it worse in LA than they do in like Dallas, for example. So like on one hand, LA is a lot more socially liberal than like Dallas was. But when I went there, I'm like, well, but like economically, like people that have like a lower socioeconomic status seem to have it way worse over here than they do in Dallas. So that's just kind of like, it's kind of like it's this weird cognitive dissonance where it's like a liberal place, which, I'm kind of liberal and like, but then you have like, you see people suffering everywhere. I don't know. All right. So we got a couple of questions coming in. Okay. Greetings to you, kind sir. My question prompted by your thumbnail is, what's the best geospatial Python package? Oh yeah. I forgot my thumbnails of a map of Seattle. GeoPandas. I use GeoPandas quite a bit because it recognizes a lot of the geospatial data types. So as far as best, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but GeoPandas works quite well. Uzman Azar. I'm a second-year undergraduate student. I'm not sure if being a business or data analyst is a job position for me. Yes, I'm still with Nordstrom. Can you give a description of what a data analyst does? Yeah, so what I said earlier in the live stream is it's kind of like, excuse me. It's kind of like it's an inverted pyramid, right? The business is at the top, right? And the business and the customers are at the top. And at the highest level, you have business intelligence or business analysts, right? It's basically the same thing, depending on the job. And what they do is that they communicate between like business leaders and business people, and they kind of like make dashboards and stuff like that. Like dashboarding is a lot of the work they do. They usually don't work in SQL, and they're answering questions where they don't have to do a lot of data cleaning. They're usually gathering the data and putting it together in a dashboard, but they're not cleaning data a lot. A data analyst is one level below that. They're usually writing a lot of SQL, and they're also creating dashboards, and they are working with a lot of unclean data, but data that already exists. A data scientist is one level below that, and a data scientist is really out there trying to create data that doesn't already exist. The example I always give is in Nordstrom, we had one data scientist who created a traffic model where basically at Nordstrom, we have no way of actually measuring the traffic in stores, like how many people are in stores at any given time. But this data scientist was able to create a model that This data scientist was able to create a model that basically allowed us to estimate with relative accuracy the number of people in a store at a given time. So that's an example of creating data where it doesn't already exist. So yeah, Konstantinos, of course. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. You get 30% less for working at Nordstrom Rack. That's funny. Funny thing though, actually, investors say that, so Nordstrom's a publicly traded company, right? Investors say that Nordstrom, one of our biggest like opportunities to grow is in Nordstrom Rack. So I don't know, maybe in the future Nordstrom, like if you work on the rack side of business, you get paid more. I don't know. What skills do I need to become a data analyst or business analyst? Learn a BI tool. That's probably the biggest one. A BI tool and some SQL will be useful. Okay, Pallavi Sundar. What kind of questions are graduates asked during data science interview? I know you mentioned you interviewed a few candidates in the past too. Yeah, okay. So for a PhD student, right, I always like to ask them about their thesis statement. That's very much a me thing, you know, so I wouldn't call that a common question because I'm just curious. It's like, you know, what do they do and how do they get into it? That being said, I think that you'll be so you'll have a technical interview and you'll have a behavioral interview. And in the technical interview, you'll have an entire section where you'll be asked to do stuff inside Python. You might be asked to like make a model or something. And in the behavioral interview, you kind of be asked questions about like, how do you deal with stakeholders? How do you handle like problems with people and stuff like that? I would recommend watching this video I did with Nick Singh, who is an interviewing expert, came out of FANG and made a book called Get a Job in Data Science. So I would recommend watching this video over here where we actually go over a lot of this content. There's a section towards the end where we talk about interviewing, and I highly recommend watching that. Does data scientists learn front end too? Some of them do because they need to make a front end in order to like have people interact with their models. Yeah. But the front end is what people are trying to abstract away from the data scientist. So that's why tools like Streamlit exist. They let you build a front end without actually having to like know JavaScript and stuff. Devo, what is the process for applying a job in a company? Like whom to contact, how to approach? Can you give some tips? So Devo, go ahead and check out that same link. This is a really unflattering screenshot. There we go. I'll leave it there. Go ahead and check out this video that I have that I linked below in the comment section. It has a lot of, it's basically exactly what you're asking for. Akmal Khan, I'm working as a data analyst since 2 years. Good idea to go for a master's DS in Germany. So my basic understanding of the European market is that they demand a higher level of education from their corporate employees than like Americans typically do. And so I recommend, or I based on what I know about the European market, that probably is a good idea. Yes, I will check it out in a second. Is it possible to find data-related jobs willing to provide visa for foreign workers? Oh, 100%, yeah. A good chunk of my team are people from our H-1Bs, mostly from China and India. But that's I think that's just because China and India, like, they're like all over the H-1B system. Something like, I think it's like 1/3 of H-1Bs are from India or something like that. But yeah, I mean, just in my team, we have tons of H-1Bs. I would recommend going to a bigger company then, if that's the case. So like a company like the size of Nordstrom or something like that. Companies like that, don't worry. So the average H-1B person, as far as I'm aware, costs about $20,000 extra to hire. But if you're hiring someone that skilled, then, you know, the $20,000 isn't that big of a deal. That being said, if you are a foreigner, then I highly recommend getting a master's degree. That'll make your life way easier. Red velour jacket from the rack. Looks cool at a piano bar. Nice, nice. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you like what we sell. From industry experience, do you think statistics or data science masters would matter? Here's the thing. Everyone I've talked to that has a master's degree is like, I don't know why I got this thing. On the other hand, every job description I look at asks for a master's degree. So yeah. I mean, I think at least for the near future, it will. If you condense your actual working hours down per day, how long do you actually spend? Is your work balance or intense or insane like my job? I don't know what's normal. Okay, so I guess that it depends on what you mean by that, right? Like, if by work you mean like sitting and coding out something, just a few hours a day. A lot of it is really spent planning. And I would also say that, like, again, as a data analyst and like a lot of these tech jobs, what you can do with them is you work on like kind of a project schedule. So you're not working 8 hours a day necessarily. You're just working as long as it takes to like get a project done. And that's kind of how I would say, like, that, you know, that's how I would say it. It's very project based. So it's like these intense sprints, I call it. Yeah, there you go. Intense sprints is the best way to talk about it, I'd say. If I was a business analyst, would I go learn Scrum Agile like a boss? It depends on what type of BA you are, but yeah, a lot of BAs do need to know Scrum and Agile. One ISOM degree help you become a business analyst. What is an ISOM degree? Information systems and operations management. Business analyst, yeah, an ISOM degree would probably help you out. A business analyst without coding skills, yeah. I'd learn Tableau if I were you, but you can become a BA without coding skills for sure. So, Paulavi, to answer your question, yeah, something like that. You might be asked to interpret a linear regression. So what happens, like, you know, when you do a linear regression, you get a bunch of parameters that come out that like talk about how good it is, you know, your R squared, stuff like that, right? Or when you run any model. So you might be expected to like look at the results of a model and then talk about what you think about that model. So I would say go ahead and like that's kind of like, sorry about that. But I would say that's kind of like what you would be asked to do. You might be asked to like make a very simple model. More likely you'd be asked to interpret a model that's already existed. Making predictions, simulations, and forecasts is more of a job of a data scientist. Yep. What do you think about the Google certification for data analyst? Really good. I wish taught Python instead of R. Does master's degree from distance education is valued? A master's degree is a master's degree. There are two types of master's degrees. One comes from an elite institution and one doesn't. You know, that's kind of the way I see it. Like, either you got your degree from Harvard or you didn't, kind of, you know. That's not saying that, like, getting a degree from not Harvard is not good. Just that a lot of people in corporate America kind of just see degrees as like, okay, he's a Harvard kid or he's not, you know. Or they're a Harvard person or they're not, you know. Is a data analyst job suitable for introverts? Yes, my God. Almost every data analyst I know is an introvert. It is not. I would actually say it's not really a field for extroverts. I like, for example, I like hanging out with like marketing people. Marketing people are a lot of fun, or like procurement folks. A lot of them are like extrovert, or a lot of them. I don't know about extroverts, but definitely more extroverted than data analysts. All right, so we're about. We're only about halfway done with this. Okay. So Simranjeet, I'm a Mechie, but have learned that many things about MI and DL from Krishna. Oh, Krishna Naik's great. He's great. Can I change my career on this basis? Yeah, I don't see why not. I have a degree in chemistry. So, I think if you really want to do it, you 100% can do it. All right, any other questions, guys? Let me go ahead and start looking at this profile, this portfolio. I would say just go ahead and start. If you want to be a data analyst, just start becoming one right out of college. That's what I would recommend. Okay, so Prashant P. Analysis can tell us what is required, but it cannot make us act. Interesting. I like it. So, Prashant, I would recommend getting rid of this graphic over here. So what you have to remember is that if someone even clicks on your portfolio, they're going to be on it for like 20 seconds maybe. It's unfortunate, but like corporate people don't look at stuff. So I would recommend getting rid of this graphic, get rid of all of these extra lines over here, or put them all in one line or something like that, and then immediately go into the project. Just instantly go into the project. That's really what you need to do. You need to like show the project immediately. And then I would even say don't show this view project thing over here. Have the project embedded in your website. Have this Tableau workbook embedded in your website is what I would recommend. And this sheet one over here, make sure you name your sheet one something, and make sure you have something explaining what this actually is. I don't know what this is at all. Like, I mean, I do. It's Flipkart's revenue per year, it looks like. And correct me if I'm wrong, in India, do you use billions or do you use some other form of crores? That's another question I would ask. So go ahead and clean this up, add a sheet name over here, add a title, add a caption explaining exactly what it is that I'm even looking at. Because again, I'm looking at this thing and I need to, I don't even know what this is, Remember, corporate people don't look at things for more than 20 seconds. View more. So I clicked on view more and it says I need access. So you need to make this Google Sheet public. Tesla, let's see. Same thing. Sheet 2, this has to be, you have to title this, add a caption, get rid of this null or explain what it is. Extend, go to Tableau and go to the dropdown and click and fit entire view. That way it's not stuffed in the small corner over here and you can see the whole thing. So those are a couple of tips I'd give you. And I would embed the charts inside your website. Don't give people more things to click on than they need to. June Jung, what steps and skills should I focus to become impactful data analyst in the consulting side? Third-year student programs analyst, intern at a government contractor. Cool. You drink Modelo's? Hell yeah, dude. Negra specifically. I like Modelo Negra more than Especial. Is ML Ops better than ML Engineer in the long term? They do completely different things. I think it just depends on what you want to do, honestly. Okay, so June Jung, I was about to answer her question, but she retracted it, so I don't know what to say anymore. Do you see health data science as a good master's degree? Yeah, 100%. Health tech is like, dude, the healthcare industry needs to be disrupted. It is way too goddamn expensive to get treatment in the U.S. So, yeah, I think so. I think that there's a lot that could potentially happen in the healthcare industry, and I would highly recommend it. Can you provide me your mail? Which company do you work in? I work in Nordstrom right now. There you go. And which is a fashion retail company based out of Seattle, Washington. All right, we're almost done with this. And then I have to go head out. So, LA. Are you based out of LA? Oh, yeah, Prashant, I would also fix this over here. Are these your photos? Or are these +1? Is this... this is template information. Okay. All right, guys, any other questions you guys might have? It's probably the longest live stream I've done in a while. Definitely the longest Q&A I've done. Let me know if you guys have any games that you think you'd be interested in watching me play. I kind of want to, like I was saying earlier, I do want to repurpose these Friday live streams to be a bit more of like, something fun maybe. And maybe I'll drop the Friday live stream altogether and kind of do like a different one, because I know I had a poll out there that said like, and people like voted Friday as the most popular day, but like, it gets in the way of my Friday evenings. Maybe not so much while I'm here, because it's only like 6:30 right now. How much data analysts contribute towards deployment and operations of a model? Usually not too much. Generally, they are not the ones deploying and maintaining operations of a model. All right, June, let's see what your question was. My bad for deleting. I saw a typo. Okay, what skills and steps should I focus on pursuing a data analyst opportunity in the consulting side? So when you say consulting, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean like management consulting? Do you mean like one of the, sorry about that. Do you mean one of the accounting firms? Do you mean like a different type of consulting, government contracting, stuff like that? I would say a lot of the same stuff I talk about quite often. The people who work in analytics that work at the big four consulting firms that I'm aware of usually need a similar set of skills as the people working in just regular corporate, or as what they like to call as people who work in industry. So for example, I work in industry versus being a consultant. And so I would still recommend, since you're in college, and your whole job is to study basically, I would recommend Python, SQL, and a BI tool of some kind, Power BI and or Tableau. The good thing is once you learn one of them, you can learn both of them quite easily. So, and I have a free course on all of that stuff. So feel free to check out my YouTube channel, and that's basically what I would say. Okay, Age of Empires, StarCraft. Okay. You like strategy games. In that case, I might do Civilization, because I'm actually halfway decent at it. Civilization 4 specifically. Do you use Twitch or just YouTube? So just YouTube, because Twitch has a policy that says that you can't put your live stream on someone else's platform for like 72 hours or something like that. And I'm like, well, my entire platform's on YouTube, so I got to bias it. Business analyst versus data analyst. So they're basically, they're actually... Business analyst is hard. So a business analyst is actually completely different from a business intelligence person. Yay, Rahul, great to see you. Business analyst is like, usually you're interfacing between business and technical people, whereas a data analyst is a technical person. ABR, SQL above all. Yeah, I would say that. SQL is kind of like the most base needed skill. So here's a funny thing. So Nordstrom actually has something called a talent framework, which is very interesting. Of course. Thank you so much, June. Nordstrom has something which is called a talent framework, which is basically it's kind of like a way of like separating out the jobs and saying, okay, like if you want to be this job, what do you need to do? If you need to be that job, what do you need to do? If you need to do a couple of jobs, like what do you need to do specifically, right? And so I would say, it's really funny because at Nordstrom, for some of the data scientist positions, the level of SQL they expect you to know, I thought was kind of funny because I'm like, that's interesting. You would expect someone to like know more SQL for this job, but your company work in, I work in Nordstrom. It's first name, last name at Nordstrom.com. So fairly simple. All right, I have a little bit longer before I do need to call it quits. Business analyst. So Usman, is your like caps lock on or something? I've answered this question a couple of times. So feel free to look like earlier in the live stream if you're interested in seeing an answer to this question. Yeah, I think that's about it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, a big data analyst, that's an interesting thing. So a big data analyst, I'm not sure if that's like a title really, but big data is, the big thing about it is that like now you're spending a lot of your time doing like data engineering tasks and trying to figure out how to like munge millions or tens of millions of rows simultaneously, and you'll be running like batch jobs and all kinds of stuff. You'll be doing everything in the cloud basically. So yeah, it's definitely a growing field. I think one important thing to know, Ken G had a great video that came out today where he talked about like, is data science dying? The answer is no, but it was a really good video. And the answer he basically gave was that, or like one thing that he said that we both like very much agree on is that if you look outside of the FANG companies, there's so much, like a lot of companies are just realizing the opportunity that is available in data science, and they're just coming to grips with how much data they actually have access to. And that's kind of where you'll see a lot of opportunity coming in, and that's kind of where I think you'll see a lot of opportunity in big data. So it's definitely a growing field. But thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you later.